Yo, what's up, folks? It's your boy Sportspsp in the building. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic evening. Welcome on a Tuesday night. Man, I hope everyone's enjoying their day, man. I hope everyone is, just living life. Take it one day at a time, folks. Always take it one day at a time. Oh, man, I got some NBA stuff I want to get into. I was watching Dennis Rodman. Yes, folks, Dennis Rodman, Hall of Famer, one of if not the greatest rebounders in NBA history, as well as one of the greatest defenders in NBA history. He went on Vlad TV and he said something about Larry Bird. If Larry Bird played in today's era, this is what he said on Vlad TV. If Larry Bird played in this era, I think he'd be in Europe. He'd be somewhere over there. His game was fit for Boston at that time in the 80s and stuff like that. Today's world, oh, hell no. There's no way. I'm not downplaying him because he's a great player at that time, just like I was, but I'm saying no. There's no way. I think the kid from Denver is way better than Larry Bird. So that's what Dennis Rodman had to say about Larry Bird. So, what are my thoughts when I heard Dennis Rodman statement about Larry Bird playing in today's era? I don't know what Dennis Rodman was on because we all know Dennis Rodman back in the 90s, folks. I mean, he was he had some problems at that time, but I don't know what he was thinking or saying that about Larry Bird, but ain't no way in hell. I'm sorry. Dennis, I believe he's just jealous. And look, this is the same Dennis Rodman who said Larry Bird was overrated and received all the praise and adulation because of his race, because of the fact that he's white. If there were a black NBA player who had the same accomplishments or skill as Larry Bird, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But because Larry Bird is white, but I just don't agree with Dennis Rodman. I vehemently disagree with what he had to say about Larry Bird. Larry Bird would have definitely succeeded in today's game, folks. He definitely would have succeeded in today's game. Larry Bird's one of the best shooters in this game. Was Bird a great defender? No, not so much. But he was an okay defender. That's about it. He's won 3 consecutive MVPs. I mean, the last player to ever win them 3 in a row. I mean, the 3 championships, the 2 finals MVPs. He thinks that Jokic is better than Bird. As much as I love Nikola Jokic, folks, and I think Nikola Jokic is phenomenal and fantastic, would I say he is better than Bird? No. I mean, Bird, in my opinion, is the better shooter. Bird can pass. Bird can handle the ball as well as Jokic, and Bird's the better defender. The edge I will give Jokic, though, rebounding as far as what he can do in the rim, even though Bird was a good rebounder as well. But to say Jokic is better than Bird at this point, even though Jokic has just won the Finals MVP championship and deserves all the praise, and yes, he's the best player in my opinion, to say that Larry Bird, he be in Europe, is delusional. I mean, it's delusional to say Larry Bird, of all people, would be in Europe if he played in today's era. Who's the player that a lot of people compare Larry Bird to in today's game? Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, Luka's what, 6'7"? Bird's like what, 6'9", 6'10"? Both can handle the ball. They can pass. They can play make. I think Bird was better off the ball than Luka, of course. I think Bird is a better shooter. Bird is a better defender than Luka. And to say that Bird would not succeed in today's game, I mean, come on. He lost it right there. If you actually go back, folks, watch highlights or tape of Larry Bird, dude was the truth. We all and he could shoot the three as well. Was he Steph, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller from the three, Klay Thompson from the three? No, but he would have been better in today's era with the spacing, and Bird could shoot it well enough. So I don't understand why Dennis Rodman would say that. I just think in large part because he's jealous. Maybe he's just jealous of all the praise and all the attention Larry Bird has received. He doesn't think that Larry Bird is special as a basketball player, even though he said he's great. But to say that he would be in Europe, I mean, he loses me with that. I mean, he just loses me with that because if you look at Larry Bird, man, 3 MVPs, 2 finals MVPs. I mean, Larry Bird was the truth and a half, and he could talk trash. Just like Luka, just like Luka's a bad boy, just like Luka could talk smack, so can Larry Bird. Now, people have forgotten the great Dr. J. Julius Erving punched Larry Bird in the face because Larry Bird was kicking Dr. J's ass that day. I don't understand what Dennis Rodman was thinking. Maybe he was on something. I mean, but to say that Larry Bird, he be in Europe, considering the circumstances in today's game with the spacing, the shooting. I mean, if you look at Bird's career, a career 24.3 points per game, 10 rebounds, 6.3 assists, around 49.6% from the field, 3-point range, 37.6%. He's in that 50, 40, 90 club. I mean, what is it that you could say his skill set, his game couldn't translate in today's game? Let me read this comment right here. False Bandicoot. Thank you for commenting, my man. Saying Bird couldn't play today is saying you don't know Larry Legend. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not trying to say that Dennis Rodman doesn't know basketball, folks. I would never say that Dennis Rodman doesn't know basketball. I'm quite sure he knows basketball. I mean, Dennis Rodman, say whatever you want about his off the court stuff. Dennis, I mean, he does have high basketball IQ. Teammates have raved about Dennis Rodman's IQ, his ability to understand the triangle offense. But I just don't understand why he would say Bird, if he played in today's game with the guys we have, like the Stephs, the Giannis's, the Jokic's, Luka's, Embiid's, he would not succeed in today's game and he'd be in Europe. That makes no sense to me. I just don't get it. What would lead him to say something like that? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It just makes literally no sense whatsoever. Makes no sense. And I feel like it's not just Dennis Rodman. It's some of the people in the media, like JJ Redick. Remember the whole thing about JJ, what he said about Larry Bird in the 3-point shooting. Look, Bird wasn't the greatest 3-point shooter. No one is saying Bird was better 3-point shooter than Ray, Steph, Reggie Miller, Klay Thompson. I don't think Bird was that. But Bird definitely, at his prime, he was considered a great shooter. At his prime, at his time in the 80s. I mean, people, man, they really don't give Larry Bird the recognition or due that he deserves. And I just feel like, I mean, Dennis Rodman and JJ Redick and so many others, I just feel like the old school cats, This is one of the reasons why some of the old school players have a problem with some young people in today's game, because they disregard what they did in that time. And they also bring up the analytics, the numbers, and stuff like that. Bird would definitely succeed in today's game. Bird was a career 24.8, 10, and 6. Bird would probably have 33, 34. He would get you at least 11 to 12. And I think Larry Bird, it wouldn't be a surprise in today's game, he would average a triple double. Why wouldn't he? Nikola Jokic almost averaged a triple double. You don't think Larry Bird could pull it off? You don't think Larry Bird is incapable of averaging a triple double? Sorry, folks. My voice is killing me, but I just don't get it. I mean, yeah, like I said before, Dennis thought Bird was overrated and said something that a lot of people probably wouldn't have said about Larry Bird. That, you know what, the reason why people praise him, give him so much adulation and admiration is because of the fact that he's white. I whether this is just my opinion, I just think Dennis is just jealous or envy or whatever because of Larry Bird. Maybe he doesn't see what we see in Larry Bird, which is the way he could shoot the basketball, the way he could handle the ball at his size, the way he can, his intangibles, his mental toughness, the impact, the value, what he meant to the game, not only on the court, but also off the court. Because at his time, there was him and Magic, and then ultimately later, Jordan. But what says you, folks? I left the StreamYard link on the comment section below. But what says you? How do you feel about Larry Bird? Do you think Dennis Rodman was right in what he said about Bird? If he played in today's era, he'd be in Europe? Because I just don't see that. I find it very hard to believe Larry Bird, of all people, would not succeed in today's game. What is it that Larry Bird can't do? That's like saying Michael Jordan couldn't play in today's game. And Michael Jordan, in my opinion, is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, because of what he did in his era, the offense, the defense, the scoring, the physicality, the competition that he faced. If Jordan played in today's game, you don't think Jordan would be easily averaging 38, 40? Because if we're going to talk about the spacing, if we're going to talk about today's circumstances, there's the spacing. We all know how lethal Jordan was as far as attacking the basket and with his mid-range. You don't think Jordan would capitalize today's era, considering with all the rules? And Jordan, even though Jordan was an okay three-point shooter, he wasn't elite or anything, but in today's game, I think he would definitely be better. Somewhere around 35, 36% from the three. Saying that Bird wouldn't play in today's era, he'd be in Europe, that's like saying that Jordan wouldn't play in today's era. What are you going to say next? Shaquille O'Neal can't play in today's game? That's what we're going to say? We're going to say old school cats aren't capable of playing in today's game? I just feel like, to me, man, why would Dennis Rodman make a statement like that? I just don't get it. Like I said, folks, if you want to add or weigh into the conversation, I put the StreamYard link on the YouTube. I also put that on my Facebook and also on Twitter. See if I could do that right now. Sorry, I'm a little late to the party, but man, I thought about it very long and hard, man, and I just don't understand why Dennis Rodman would say that, and I just don't understand the absolute hate people have for old school cats like Larry Bird. I mean, Larry is just chilling. Larry's just minding his own business. Like, damn, man, can't you just give the man his praise or adulation? I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't understand why anyone would think that if Larry Bird didn't play in today's era, he'd be in Europe. He'd be out the league. No one with sense, no one with a brain would believe Larry Bird wouldn't play in today's game. He would. And he would average, I think he would definitely average a triple double. But I just don't get it, man. I just don't really get it. It makes clearly no sense whatsoever. I mean, it's laughable. It's insulting. It's a direct insult to people who know the game of basketball. And another thing, nah, maybe I won't talk about that. I'll probably think about that for another time. Maybe I'll probably bring it up later on the show, but we'll talk about that for another time. So, anyway, if you want to watch it, just go on YouTube, type in Vlad TV, Dennis Rodman. You can see it yourself. Let's talk about, folks, some NBA. You know, we're about a few days away from free agency. Of course, all the big news surrounding the NBA. Of course, folks, CP3 was traded to the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors traded Jordan Poole to the Wizards. I think it's a likable move for the Golden State Warriors, even though CP3 is not what he was defensively. But I do think the fact that, you know what, we could still have someone that could provide for the team both on and off the court. We know CP3, he's a great mentor for some of the younger players. And I think that CP3 would be beneficial. Now, does it help the Warriors' chances as far as competing for a championship? No. Denver is clearly better than them. I mean, the Clippers and the Lakers, barring injury, they're better than the Warriors. That's what I think. I mean, maybe not the Clippers, but the Lakers. Because we saw that Suns. I believe the Warriors are better than the Suns. They are better than the Suns because, yeah, okay, you got three players in Durant, Booker, and Bradley Beal. They can give you 30 a night if they want to. But you have no point guard. There's concerns about the depth. And you still have DeAndre Ayton. And I like DeAndre Ayton. But to me, he's the enigma in the team. Because DeAndre Ayton is a guy that can give you 18, 20, 22 a night, somewhere around 10 or 11 rebounds. I mean, DeAndre Ayton is no scrub. He could play. I like his game a little bit, like the mid-range game. I think he needs to improve defensively, and I think he needs to have more of a motor. I think he needs to play more aggressive because you're the big man on the team and you should be playing like one. You were drafted number one overall. And if you look at that 2018 draft, I mean, Luka Doncic is much better than you. Trae Young is better than you. I mean, that always come to DeAndre Ayton. You were the number one overall pick, but the two players, Luka Doncic with the third overall pick, and then Trae Young, fifth overall pick, they've played much better than you. And they've made all-star appearances. They've shown more potential than you. So that's how I feel with the Phoenix Suns. They'll make the playoffs, but I don't see them winning a championship. But like I said, folks, with CP3, I don't see Golden State competing for a championship, but I do think this is a good move for them because they get a facilitator in case if Draymond Green does decide to stay or re-sign with the team. Now, he did decline his player option at $27.6 million. They traded Jordan Poole. I definitely think the Jordan Poole, Brandon, hold on. My friend Brandon from the Black. Brandon, I sent in the link, so I'll send it to you again. If you want to hop on, my man. You're always welcome. I do think the Draymond Green Jordan Poole factor definitely played a role and how from that point it hurt the team. I think Jordan Poole's production in the playoffs definitely hurt. Now, again, I was on the podcast, Give Us a Shot podcast with the crew, and the guy and they brought up a great point about Jordan Poole not getting enough minutes. They brought up the fact that since Clay was healthy, since he was available, he was there. Jordan Poole's minutes would diminish. And of course, they're going to give Clay Thompson more minutes because he's the proven commodity, his value to the team compared to Jordan Poole. But Jordan Poole, even when he had those minutes in the playoffs, he just didn't play particularly well. He just didn't. I think now in Washington, he's going to be their number one option. He's going to shoot a jack of shots. He's probably going to average around 26 a night. He'll be inefficient at best 41, 42%, somewhere around 34, 35% from three-point range. He'll probably get somewhere around 88% from the free throw line, 85, 88% from the free throw line. But I damn sure don't see Jordan Poole changing life in Washington. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to be. As for the Warriors, I think it's good for Chris Paul. He comes off the bench if he wants to. And I do think they're going to ask him to come off the bench because given the fact injuries, 38 years old, he's not the athlete he once was. But I don't think CP3 cares about that. I think CP3 is just going to do whatever it takes to win. And I do think he's going to definitely provide value as far as his leadership and his mentorship to the team. That's what I believe. I think he could definitely add to the team as far as mentoring the younger players, telling them what to do. And I think it's also great for Steph and Clay because they're great off the ball. And just in case if Draymond's not there, you have another facilitator in CP3. And he's also a player, and he's also a player's coach. So he makes Steve Kerr's job a little bit easier. So that's how I think. And of course, Atlanta, they traded John Collins to the Utah Jazz. I think Utah traded away Rudy Gay and a second round pick. The writing was on the wall, folks. John Collins was going to get traded. I mean, all the reports about him being frustrated with how the way he's been utilized in Atlanta. Okay, let him go to Utah. Let him go elsewhere. How is he and Lauri Markkanen going to work? As for Atlanta, I like it. I think they won this one. You can say that Utah won it because, again, a bunch of other players, and they don't have to deal with John Collins' contract anymore. Given the fact they no longer have to deal with John Collins' contract, they got Rudy Gay, even though he's not what he was, but I do think he could be a mentor to DeAndre Hunter and some of the younger players. Maybe he can help find a way to help out with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. I do think it's solid for the Atlanta Hawks. I think it's solid for the Atlanta Hawks. That's what I think. So I like it for Atlanta. I think by a hair, I think they won this one because they no longer have to deal with John Collins' contract anymore. They don't have to worry about dealing with him anymore. And I just think since 2019, that 2020 season when he had somewhere around 20 and 10, his production hasn't been the same. So I think it's best for Atlanta to get Rudy Gay and a second round pick in return. That's my opinion. Then, of course, Kyrie Irving. What should happen with Kyrie Irving? Should he go to the Lakers and play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? I wouldn't mind if he played with the Lakers because I think he and LeBron want to reconcile. And I don't trust Anthony Davis. Let me be clear. I trust Anthony Davis' talent. I think AD is a great defender. I think his defense, particularly in the playoffs and throughout the season, was exceptional. He was great, but but the problem with AD is the inconsistency. AD is capable of giving you 30 and 15, but there are other times he's going to give you 10 and 7. So what type of performance are you going to anticipate from an Anthony Davis? Like, what are you going to get from AD consistently? And I do think that the Lakers should use Kyrie Irving. You add another scorer to the team. He's great off the ball for LeBron. He's someone he can still give you 25, 26 a night if he wanted to. He can give you that amount of production. The problem with Kyrie is that it is his mind. Kyrie thinks he's more than what we think he is. And Kyrie is not always going to be there for work. Some days he's going to show up to play, other times he's not. So that's the problem that you got to deal with if you're the Lakers. You got to roll the dice. About Kyrie to South Beach, no, hell no. I don't see it. Kyrie wouldn't mind being in South Beach, and I'm quite sure Gabe would want him based on his play. But I don't. But Gabe knows this very well, and shout out to Gabe. I just don't see Kyrie playing in South Beach. The Miami Heat would not tolerate it. They wouldn't. They wouldn't want to tolerate Kyrie Irving because they're not going to allow someone to run his own show. Miami, they have a culture, they have standards with Pat Riley, Nicky Ayerson, now Udonis Haslem, retired, Jimmy Butler. No, the Heat have established a culture. They're not going to allow someone like Kyrie to come in and run things how he sees fit. They're not. Now, Kyrie staying in Dallas, yeah, because Dallas could offer him the most money. I think he and Luka need to play more games in order for them to work together. I think, and also too, just like Florida, Texas is a state with no income taxes. So Kyrie wouldn't mind dealing with that. Who wouldn't want to live in Texas with no state income taxes? I mean, you could say a lot of things about Texas and Florida in terms of the politics, in terms of the crazy things that go on there, such as the gun issue and other things. But Texas ain't a bad place to live in terms of no state income taxes. So, and they're going to offer you the most money. So Kyrie wouldn't mind that. And then James Harden. Now he has until Thursday. Wait, hold on. Got a friend right here.
Yo,
What's
what
up,
up?
friend?
What up? What's up? What's up?
How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. You?
Good, man. Talking about some NBA, man. I just talked about Dennis Rodman. I basically said, man, he crazy as hell for saying that if Larry Bird played in today's game, he'd be in Europe. He got his damn.
Yeah,
What do you think about just what I said and about the whole NBA, man, with free agency? I think we have until Friday when free agency starts, right?
yeah. Sadly, I got to work, so I can't stream. But yeah. I'm curious to see what Kyrie could do. He a free agent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he does. I'm thinking Dallas going to pay him, but we'll see.
Hmm.
Um, I'm interested to see what the Lakers do with Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura.
They
I
got to
just,
keep them.
yeah, I just found out they just kept Vanderbilt.
Well,
So
that's good for them because they need that defense.
yeah, definitely. So for that, um, what else? What else moves on?
Well, I was going to talk about James Harden. He has until Thursday to decide his $35.6 million option with the 76ers. What's your
I think
thoughts
he's
on that?
gone. I think he's gone. I don't think he's
Mm.
staying. I really don't think he's staying.
Do you think it has to do with the fact with how the way they performed in the playoffs, particularly how the way they lost Game 7 to the Celtics? What says you?
Um, I just think he wanna come go back home to Houston. I think,
Mm.
yeah, I think he should go back to Houston with Jalen Green and them boys. Who else they picked up? Was it A-Man? Was it, is it
Um,
A-Man?
yeah, Amin Thompson,
Yeah, I meant Thompson. Yeah, I meant Thompson. Yeah, so got him, James Harden, Jalen Green. Like they
Jabari
building
Smith
out there.
Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wouldn't mind going to H Town. I mean, it's great for the Rockets because all those young players. You got the franchise player on the team, the former franchise player James Harden. It's a great way for them to sell tickets.
hmm
And of course, like I said about Kyrie in Texas, I mean, Texas is a state with no income taxes. And not only that, though, we all know Houston, them strip clubs, and we all know James Harden for a fact loves that nightlife. So hey, it is great for him. And but the thing is, if he decides to go, how is he going to work with Ime Udoka?
Excellent. I like Ma. I like Ime Udoka as a great coach. We know what the situation he had when he was in Boston. I ain't gonna get to there, but overall, he's just a great coach.
Hmm.
I think he'll work good with James Harden.
All right, and
And
of course,
hold on,
go ahead.
don't the Rockets got the most cap space, right? Don't they got like 60 million?
I don't know exactly off the top of my head. I gotta go fact check and research that. Maybe someone in the YouTube section could add that, but I'm quite sure they got some money. But
Mm-hmm.
speaking of free agent, speaking of which, I forgot to mention Jalen Brown. There's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility. Should he stay in Boston or should he go somewhere else and become a number one option?
No way he's leaving.
Yeah, because of the money.
Yeah, no way in heck he leaving. Yeah, Boston going to pay him because he's eligible to get the supermax, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So um, thing is though, Boston money is going to go run by them too. That
Yeah,
duo with
Tatum
that
and Brown, or as Leaf calls them, the two Scotty Pippins.
yeah, yeah, crazy.
It is crazy, but at the same time, hey man, that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you heard the news about Victor Oladipo. He, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN, he exercised his 9.4 player dollar option for next season.
Okay,
What's your
that's
thoughts
cool.
on that?
That's cool. Victor Oladipo would have really helped them in Miami on the bench. Because they needed somebody on the bench besides Duncan Robinson and them boys. So yeah, I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely think that Miami, in order for them to get back to a championship and win one, they're gonna have to surround Jimmy Butler with more talent because it can't just be him and Bam Adebayo. I
hmm
mean, there were times the shooting between Gabe Vincent and Max Strus wasn't always particularly there. What do you think that Miami is missing? And Gabe, please comment on the comment section below. If you want to hop on and talk about some Heat basketball, let me know, man. But what says you, Brandon?
Oh yeah, Damian Lillard. I don't know what's
Mm,
up with that man. What's going on with Dame, bro? Like, are you gonna leave or not, bro? It's the same thing over and over and over again. Like, are you? They talking about? Oh, they go wait till the off season to see what happens. Then all of a sudden he talking about he want to leave. There was trade rumors talking about he going to Miami, and all that type stuff.
yeah.
And
Did you read the report from Chris Haynes? He said he doesn't want to be on a team where it's just three all stars or three superstars. He just wants a team that has a shot.
Okay. So basically, you don't want to go to state move, really.
I think he doesn't want to be considered. He doesn't want to be on a super team because it would look at him in a different way. He may look at it and say it may diminish his legacy. But
No,
look,
no.
I, I I don't know, but I don't know why. But Dame, look at it. You just finished your 11th year in the NBA. You're about to be 33 years old. Why not go somewhere else to compete and help you be in the best position possible for a championship?
And you put your heart and soul into Portland. Like you did everything right in Portland. Just the organization just don't put the right amount of pieces. Besides CJ McCollum, what other player did Damian Lillard had
Mm,
besides CJ McCollum?
mm-hmm.
I mean, like they weren't doing nothing for him. They don't give him no other piece.
I
And
mean, they
then
haven't really.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
then with Damian Lillard and stuff like with the draft, they got Scott Henderson. They got all these guards. They got Simons, Shaden Sharp. Bro, just trade the man.
I mean,
Trade the
at
dude.
least just trade him. At least get something in return. What's the point of keeping him?
Yeah, no point at all. It's just I'm just tired of drama. I just waiting on that tweet that says Damian Lillard requests a trade. It's going to be a party.
I just think it's best that you trade him. I mean, you already drafted Scoot Henderson, whether he turns out to be, but we want to see Scoot Henderson. We want to see the Trailblazers build the franchise around him. As for Dame, you might as well trade him to somewhere. If not Miami, I don't know. Would you like to see him somewhere else in the East, like Milwaukee
Yeah,
or Philly?
Milwaukee. Yes, I would love to see him in Milwaukee. I would trade. I'm trading Chris Middleton, man.
Yeah, because I think he declined his player option at what 40 million.
Yeah, I'm trading Chris Middleton. I'm doing a sign and trade, sending Chris Middleton to Portland, and
Mm.
yeah,
So
I
and you,
put Dame, Drew, Giannis. Um, the only thing is they need a three. They need a wing
mm-hmm.
because not Grayson Allen ain't there,
No, he's not there.
but yeah,
No, but I would like to see him. I mean, it would be great for Giannis because they could stretch up the floor. Also,
hmm
to help out Drew Holiday, so you got one is well rounded. So you got someone with the offense, with the shooting, and of course you got Drew Holiday with the defense.
definitely.
So, but I would hate though that the Bucks, yeah, they would have to trade Milton, and Milton is capable of giving you 20, 22 a night, but you lose him. So who are you gonna get if you're Milwaukee to get a three?
Who's some people out there? I mean, there's Kuzma. I don't think people want him, but um, I gotta look at the list. Where my I gotta look at the list.
All right. Oh, and fellas, if y'all want to hop in on the show, man, I'll send the StreamYard link again, man. Feel free to hop on. Leaf, Gabe, Goaded, whoever. I know y'all watching.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think the Bucks, if they do trade Middleton and they get Dame in return, they probably gonna have to get a three before the trade deadline, or they're gonna have to wait in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. Let me
So
see. Let me
uh,
see. Yeah. Um. Hmm. Harrison Barnes is one of them.
I wouldn't mind that because I
Um.
think his time in Sacramento is done.
Yeah. Harrison Barnes not even all that though. When whatchamacallit got rid of him, the Warriors got rid of him. I said, yeah, they just go give up on him. So
Mm-hmm. But I just think though, when you look at Dame at this point, what do you want? And if you're the Trailblazers, what do you want? Like if you do trade Dame, what do you expect it to get? You're probably gonna get what, a first round. Like you're not gonna get like a king's ransom for Dame at this point in his
Nah,
career.
I'm trading. I'll trade Middleton. I'll trade who else on that team? You gotta trade some bench pieces. Um dang, who they got on there? I won't say Bobby Portis, but
You want to say
um
Bobby Portis? No.
I won't say him. Jay Crowder, he's still there, but he a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
See, see that depth chart.
But I think though, when I look at when I look at it, like the free agency, it's going to be tough, man. I mean, Lakers, I think they should just keep Austin Reeves,
Hmm.
find a way to keep Rui, because I like what Rui did in the playoffs. I thought he shot well from the three, and how
Yeah,
he was able to defend. So you got to keep him. He could be that third scoring option. D'Angelo Russell, man, he kind of
let let him
disappointed
walk.
me. Go
Let
ahead.
him walk. Just let him walk. Let him
Let him
walk, man.
walk. Let him
Yeah.
walk. I agree. I think they should find a way to try to get Kyrie.
Hmm.
And then when you look at it outside of that, I mean, which team do you think could compete in the West and can rival Denver?
That can rival Denver in the
Yeah.
West. I want the Suns to, man, but they ain't got no bench.
Hmm.
Um, I will say this though, y'all might think I'm crazy, but if Memphis gets some scores, you know, they got some defensive players. They got smart now. I mean, hearing they trying to get Draymond Green, but if they get well, John Morant, I mean, he 25 game suspension. But people forget like the Lakers. For the Lakers in Memphis, they it went 6 games, but they was without Brandon Clark. They was without Steven Adams. They're gonna be back next year. But if they get some more shooters, I mean, they got Luke Kennard, Desmond Bain, Dylan Brooks is gonna be out of there. So they gotta get another wing. Other than that, just get shooters on the wing. I can see them facing uh big threat to Denver.
How good do you think Memphis going to be without John Morant? Because we've seen the past couple of seasons without John Morant, they were playing pretty good. And there was even, I thought Desmond Bain should have won Most Improved Player of the year when John won it.
Yeah, they gonna be fine without him. They gonna be fine.
All right.
They gonna be fine.
I mean, I think a team that could compete and could challenge Denver is, when healthy, the Clippers.
Oh yeah, yeah. Forgot about the Clippers.
I was thinking about the Clippers, but then again, I am kind of concerned about the injuries, though. Not only with Kawhi, but also with PG. If Kawhi and
Hmm.
PG are on the court, I think they should find a way to keep Russ at this point. I don't
Yeah.
agree with what Kendrick Perkins. You know what Kendrick Perkins had to say about Russ? He said Russ should go to Miami,
Mm.
and I don't know.
He gonna
I
mess
I
that up.
wouldn't mind that, but I think Russ is better off in Cali.
Yeah. Yeah. He a free agent, right?
I don't know if he's a free agent. I haven't paid attention to it, but they should find a way to keep Russ. I mean, Russ in the playoffs, I mean, other than games 1, game 5, in terms of shooting the basketball, I thought he played overall pretty well.
Yeah,
Russ
he
still
did.
showed that even at age 34, he still got some game left in him. So I don't think his career is over at this point yet. I still think he can definitely provide spark value to the team scoring. And
Hmm.
considering the fact that Kawhi and PG, they can't stay healthy, you definitely gonna need someone to provide that scoring threat. So why not keep him?
Yeah. Um, for the forwards, they got Chris. This the free agents. You got Chris Middleton, Kyle Kuzma, Cameron Johnson, Dylan Brooks, Herbert Jones, Jay Crowder, Kelly Oubre, um, Let's see.
I would like Herbert Jones because that defense.
Torrey Craig, Joe
Mm-hmm.
Ingles. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, he already a buck though. T.J. Warren, Cam Reddish.
I mean, Cam Reddish, though. I mean, he's erratic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, coming out of college, a lot of people, some people went as far as comparing him to Paul George, though. And I hope well, that's not the case with Brandon Miller in that situation. Even though he did say that he has Paul
Mm-hmm.
George as his goat.
Mm-hmm. I'm not really mad at that though, PSP. I'm really not mad at that, bro.
Why is that?
Um, I mean, people got their different goats. Like people haven't been looking up to people like Michael Jordan, LeBron. I mean Brandon Miller. I mean LeBron, yeah. But you can tell like Brandon Miller, his game is close to Paul George. I don't know if you have seen his game or not. So like
No, I've seen this game.
yeah, he idolizes Paul George. I'm not really mad at that.
No, I mean, if
It's
I,
something
I,
different.
I get it from the standpoint based on skill set, playing style. Yeah, his game is more comparable to Paul George because long length, the athleticism. I think Brandon Miller's got to work on attacking the basket. I think he also's got to work on with his handle, but clearly can shoot the basketball. Clearly can provide defense for a team.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I can understand from a standpoint of why he would say Paul George as his GOAT. But when he said Paul George as the GOAT, I'm like, this is not like Paul George. I think he'll be a Hall of Famer, but GOAT. Uh, but I understand where you're coming from that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk to you about Dennis Rodman. I told you about what Dennis Rodman said about Larry Bird. He said if Larry Bird played in this era, he'd be in Europe. What's your thoughts when you heard it?
Tripping. You haven't seen Larry Bird play in his life, I don't think.
He did. He
I
even
don't think
said that remember he did say Larry Bird overrated because Larry Bird
which
he
is
felt like Larry Bird got too much attention because of the fact that he's white.
which is insane because like Larry Bird is one of the he's underrated when it comes to his defensive wise. Probably one of the best scorers. Well, I won't say scores, but 3-point shooters in the of all time. I think he's top 10 when it comes to shooting all time. And then like his playmaking is underrated as heck. So like Larry Bird is like he's tough, bro. Like I don't see how people say how he said that. I don't know. He had to be drunk, definitely.
He had to be high. He probably was
Yeah.
high. He probably was smoking on some whatever, man. But like, I just don't get it. And besides, if you look at today's game, who's the player that reminds you of Larry Bird?
What reminds me of Larry Bird?
Because I said Luca.
I can see that. Um, yeah, Lucas a great one.
Yeah, just in terms of playing style, I think Luca, and even though he's the five, Jokic, because of the passing, the playmaking, they're not considered the greatest athletes in the world, but how the way
Hmm.
they play at their pace, their
Yeah.
craftiness. When I
Uh-huh.
look at Bird, Bird's a better defender than those two, in my opinion. When I look at Bird, I think he's the better shooter than those two. I think
Yeah.
Bird number one as a shooter, Jokic number two as a shooter, and Luka at three. When I look at Bird in today's game, he averaged around 24.8 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. I said earlier, I think Larry Bird it wouldn't surprise me if he averaged a triple double. I mean, Jokic was that close to averaging a triple double this season. He was like 9.8 assists. So he was like zero point 0.2 away from averaging a triple double. I could see
Yeah.
Larry Bird if he wanted to average 30, 12, and 10. And shout out to my man, Philly Sports Talk podcast, man. What up, man? I sent the StreamYard link in the comment section below. So if you want to comment, come in, come in. But how good do you think Larry Bird could have been in today's game?
Um, I think he'll be a. I think he'll be a top 5 player. I think Larry Bird will be a top 5 player in this league. Um, he would fit great in this game. You talking about the more spacing in the NBA right now? Like the spacing, like Larry Bird shooting. I'm not gonna lie, he's averaging 28 a game.
I think he averaged 30, 32 if he wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. I can say that too. I'll say I'll say 28, 8, and probably like 8 assists. His
Mhm.
playmaking is underrated.
I think when you look at Bird, I think he would have won some MVPs, a championship or two in today's game. And when I look at it, to say that Larry Bird he'd be in Europe, that's like saying Michael Jordan couldn't play in today's game. Can you
hmm
imagine how many points MJ would be averaging in today's game?
32, 33.
I think he could average around 38. He averaged 37 at one point in the 80s. So if he did
Oh,
that
he
in the
did?
80s, yeah, he did. He averaged 37. I'll go look it up. But yeah, Jordan could definitely score. I mean, he averaged 30 points throughout his career. But
hmm
when you look at Michael Jordan in today's game, with the emphasis in the 3 point emphasis with the 3 point shooting, the spacing, I could see Jordan averaging, and he did average 37.1 points per game. That was his third year in the NBA. His fourth year 35, fifth year 32.5, 6th year 33.6, seventh
hmm
year 31.5, 30.1, 32.6. Jordan would easily average 38 or 40 in today's game because you're not going to stop him as far as attacking to the basket. We all know how great of a mid-range shooter he is, and we're seeing a lot of guys like the Devin Bookers, the KDs, the Quads shooting the mid-range shots. Jordan can hit the free throws, and Jordan, even though he wasn't the greatest three-point shooter in the world, we can't argue that he wouldn't improve in today's game.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at it, Jordan throughout his career in terms of the 3 point percentage, he was 32.7. So, he would probably be at best 34, 35% in today's game with the 3 point shooting.
hmm
But I just don't get it. I just feel like too many times the younger generation. I know it's crazy because we're both young. Well, I'm about to be 30. Brandon, you what, 21, 22?
Yeah, I'm 21. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems to me, man, that the younger players, the younger generation, they just really don't pay enough attention to guys like Larry Bird. And for Rodman, of all people, to say that, even though I think he's just saying that because either he was smoking something or he's just jealous of Larry Bird, to say that Larry Bird would not play in today's game, that's just blasphemous. It's just
Yeah,
criminal.
it is. It is.
Yeah, so I want to talk about some other NBA news or takes. Like, how do you feel about with the NBA? What have you heard that's excited or intrigued you?
All right, let me think here. Well, it's not really NBA. But I'm glad street ball is coming to ESPN.
Mm.
I'm hearing that it coming to ESPN. I think it's very entertaining. Can't wait to see that. Um, let's see. I'm just ready for free agency, man. I just want to see what's gonna be in store.
I just can't wait. That I'm excited about. Are you more excited for free agency than you would say the beginning of football season?
The beginning of football season. I'm more happy with the football season more than the NBA.
Hmm.
I don't think it's. I mean, like the hype going around it is crazy. Like the first game of the year, Like I know for the fact, like the Bills and Rams game last year was insane. Like although the Rams choked, well they were bad and stuff, but like that was very entertaining. But
Speaking of which,
free agency though was lit for
yeah,
sure.
it's good. It's good. Let's just try to change it up a little bit. It's my podcast. We can talk about whatever we want. Let's talk about some of
Mm,
the NFL, man. What do you think was going on with the NFL? Dalvin Cook, he got cut by the Minnesota Vikings.
mm-hmm. Definitely.
Um, Saquon Barkley, there still hasn't been a deal yet. God knows what's going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins. He still hasn't been signed on an NFL team. How do
Mm.
you feel about those things?
If I'm shocked to see that D Hop hasn't gotten signed yet. Sure enough, Dalvin Cook as well. Um, if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, I would I would love to go to the. It might sound crazy, but I'll go home if I'm D Hop. I'll go back to Houston with
To play
CJ
with CJ?
Stroud.
Mm,
Yeah. Uh, who they got over there? They got Damian Pierce. They got Tank, the
Dalton
rookie,
Schultz.
Dalton Schultz. Yeah. Then you add Diop to the mix. Robert Woods. He's gonna be healthy. I like that. I'm liking the offense there. If Diop's there, I think they can win some games. I'm not saying like 10 games or nothing like that, but they'll win like 6 or 7 games.
I think for D Hop, if he wants to put himself in the best position to win a championship, I said before he should go to Kansas City.
Yeah,
Sports Talk
definitely.
would love it because if
Yeah,
he said if D Hop is there, we run in the Super Bowl or getting back to the Super Bowl.
they going back to back. They gonna win the Super Bowl. They winning the Super Bowl. I don't think no other team's gonna beat them.
Let's talk about Dalvin Cook, man. He got cut by the Minnesota Vikings, and it's shocking because 4 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards and 43 touchdowns, perennial
Hmm.
Pro Bowl running back. But it's not because of his production; it's because of the fact that 27, 28 years old, and it's just easy to get running backs like that, man. And it's just a shame because that's like the most undervalued position in football because of how much emphasis it has regarding the quarterbacks. It starts and ends with the quarterbacks, the offensive line to protect them, the defensive line to get after the quarterbacks, and of course the tight ends and the wide receivers that make the quarterback look good by throwing them the football. What do you think about with Dalvin Cook? Where do you think he should go?
Miami. I think that's the most obvious choice. The Miami Dolphins. Um, the Bills would be good too, but at the same time, they pass heavy. They
They
just
are,
pass
and they
heavy.
heavily rely on Josh Allen and his arm and legs.
Mm.
But I think that if you're the Bills and if you want to continue on with Josh Allen's like, I don't know how old is he? Probably 26,
I think he's
27
like
years old.
26. Yeah, I think he's like 26. Let me look it up right quick.
Right.
He he's 27.
Yeah. He's 27 years old. So I feel like if you want to continue on with Josh Allen, and if he continues on with that playing style, he's not going to last that long in the NFL because we saw Cam Newton, and what happened to him. So I think they should put. I think if the Bills they can get a running back for Josh Allen, that'd be great because you don't have to ask Josh Allen to do too much in terms of his legs. But let's talk about a take that you had to say. You've been on the record with this quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. You went
Sure
on my
have.
Yes, you went on my podcast, and I've watched you on your podcast. Go check him out, folks. Brandon from the Block Podcast. Check him out every Monday night, 7 p.m. on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
You said Trevor Lawrence is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL right now. Why?
Yep. I said it a million times on the Discord. I said it to my PC guys, Dub, Ron, G Baby, Trent, especially G Baby. Oh my gosh. Um, all of them that Trevor Lawrence is the most overrated quarterback in the league because they all like putting this guy close to the top six, top seven, where he shouldn't be. And this is over a playoff game, which we all know. Um, he came back. in the game against the Chargers, 27-0. It was great for him. You get what I'm saying? But like I'm just saying, like we putting too much. We giving Trevor Lawrence too much credit in my opinion. But cause we be forgetting the 4 picks he had at the beginning of the game. But he managed to came back to win. But like at the same time though, like he should um I just got to see it again next year, man. I got to see how it be next year, and we'll find out.
Okay.
We'll just find out, man.
Here's how I feel about you with Trevor Lawrence. I think there are other quarterbacks that you could look at and you could say they're more overrated than Trevor Lawrence. I mentioned Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals. I mentioned Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. I understand because Sports Talk has mentioned it on his on the podcast, your podcast, that the first half of the season, Trevor Lawrence didn't play particularly well. He was bad. But I've also told him, are we supposed to disregard what happened in the second half of the season? And yes, statistically, Trevor Lawrence didn't play well in that playoff game against the Chargers. Nevertheless, though, he won. He found a way to win that game. And I
Definitely.
brought up the example to Sports Talk about Andrew Luck, his second year in the NFL. Remember that playoff game in which the Colts came back from against the Kansas City Chiefs against his team?
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Luck
Yeah.
didn't play particularly well in the first half, but somehow, some way, he found a way to manage and win and pull off the victory. He did that to a quarterback. A lot of people consider a top 4, top 5 quarterback in Justin Herbert. And
Yep.
there have been times, and I said on your podcast, I think Justin Herbert is overhyped or overrated because of all
Woo.
the praise and the attention that he's been getting, because people act as if he's the golden boy, kind of like Trevor Lawrence. Like how you feel, how a lot of people say about Trevor Lawrence, best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. That's what I'm seeing from Justin Herbert. And I feel like, yeah, I understand Justin Herbert. He's in a bad situation with the head coach. The defense let him down in that game as well. The
Mm.
injuries with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. But at the same time, if you're considered that top 4, top 5 of a quarterback, you shouldn't lose in a game, especially in which you had a 27-point lead. And that was your first playoff game as well as Trevor's.
That's true, and I understand that. Um, I know people kind of putting Trevor Lawrence over Herbert right now, but like at the same time, like Justin Herbert really didn't mess up. Like if you see that game, there was 2 missed field goals in that game.
I agree there. Yeah.
He was on Justin Herbert was in the red zone. I mean, although he didn't get a touchdown and stuff like that, he still put him to field goal range. The kicker just missed the kick. There were like 2 kicks he missed, so they had chances to win that game. So I'm not I'm not putting all the blame on Herbert though. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. I think next year though, um, Justin Herbert, and Lamar Jackson, um, they this is their last chance.
Mm.
I think it's their last chance. I love Herbert and stuff like that, but if he don't, you just got to win one playoff game, man. Like you got to win one, man, because if not, it's just gonna look bad.
Let's talk about another quarterback in that division, the AFC West, who used to play for your team, the
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, last year he had, without a question, the worst year of his career. But I've been too hard on Russell Wilson. There are times I've called him corny. The reason why I call him corny because them damn Subway commercials, and he's trying to show people that he has personality in which he doesn't. How do you think this is maybe it for Russell Wilson? Because with Sean Payton as your new head coach and with the offensive line that they've put, now they hired Nathaniel Hackett last year because possibility of Aaron Rodgers coming to Denver. That didn't turn out. But you get Sean Payton, the new offensive line. If Russell Wilson doesn't get it done, it seems like
Mhm.
it may be it for him in Denver and possibly with his NFL career. What do you think about what Russ?
I will say this though. When we traded him to go to Denver, I said to myself, they ain't gonna do nothing with him. They ain't going to the playoffs that year. I said this, but no, now, don't get me wrong. I didn't expect him to be this bad now, because I told people I don't think they're a quarterback away. There's still some pieces that still need to be fixed. I know that coaching was bad. Hackett is a terrible coach, and he proved that season. Hackett was terrible. But with the Russ situation, um, since Hackett left last season, Russ actually played pretty well.
During the
He
end,
actually,
yeah.
yeah, during the end, so he actually played pretty well. And then you took away Hackett. Now this coming season got Sean Payton, one of the best coaches of all time, maybe.
And worked with a miniature quarterback in Drew Brees.
Yeah. So like um also last season the Broncos was not healthy at all. They lost Javante Williams ACL tear. Um I think they lost their third string receiver, KJ Hamler, if I'm not mistaken. Um Bradley Chubb was hurt some games on the defensive side. So like um this year they fixed their O line. I've seen Javante Williams coming back. Shout out to him. Um and yeah,
Hmm.
man. I think Russ gonna have a bounce back year. I think he's gonna be comeback player of the year.
Wow. I
I think
mean,
he's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
comeback
hard
player of
to.
the year.
I mean, that's gonna be hard to say. I think comeback player of the year might be DeMar Hamlin because of
Oh
the.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
But I wouldn't rule that out though. I want to talk about a quarterback. I told you I have huge love and respect for, because he played at OU, Kyler Murray. You even said a healthy Kyler Murray is better than Trevor Lawrence.
mm.
Why do you say that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad to say, because we all know in 2020, um, he took his team to the playoffs that year. He's not as bad as a quarterback, and I think Kyler Murray just a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence is. Like throwing on the run, I'm giving it to Kyler. Accuracy, I'm giving it to Kyler. Um, and yeah, I just think he's just a better quarterback overall. Now, this coming year, Trevor Lawrence, I think is going to be better than Kyler, because we got to look at the standpoint with Kyler Murray, where he in Arizona right now. Um, Cliff Kingsbury is still the coach there, right? Oh no, they fired him. I'm tripping.
They
They
fired him.
fired. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
fired
fired
him.
him.
They in real book, but anyway, they in rebuild mode. Um, D Hop is not there anymore. He released, so I don't see Kyler Murray. Oh, and also he's hurt as well. That's why I say a healthy Kyler Murray is better than Trevor Lawrence. So.
Yeah. Um, I think, man, I hope this is not the case for Kyler in Arizona, but it wouldn't surprise me. Arizona, they end up getting the number one overall pick. And if they have a chance to get Caleb Williams from USC, they're gonna
Yeah,
pull that trigger.
Kyler Murray, bye bye.
Right.
I'm not gonna hold you though. I wouldn't mind trading for him.
I was gonna talk about that, and there was one team I feel like he could be traded to,
Mm,
and I hope Goaded and Dev are listening. ATL.
ooh.
Because considering the fact that in the NFC South, that's not really the best division in the world right now. I mean, Tampa, you got Baker Mayfield, who's an OU dude who I love, but at the same time, 6 years and you've been on 4 teams. Bryce
Mm,
Young with the number one overall pick. I think Bryce Young is going to be really good. A
yeah,
lot of questions about his size or whatever, but I think he's the right type of quarterback for the Panthers to have, which is why they had to trade and move up in the draft to take him. Because if you're
for sure.
Chicago, you already have Justin Fields, and I believe Justin Fields never really had true talent to work with.
For
And
sure.
then when you look at the Saints, I mean, I don't know if you read some of the comments that Derek Carr had to say about the Raiders. I don't know if you read it, but if I have the chance to look him up, I think Derek Carr is going to actually show people, he's going to prove people wrong. And I hope he does, because
Mm.
even though he may not be the best quarterback in the world, his record is like what, 63 and 79 as a starter. But I feel like too many times he's been used as the scapegoat, because you look at all the controversies with the Raiders, such as John Gruden with the emails that led to his departure from the team. You look at the situation with Henry Ruggs III. You look at Damon Arnett with the gun situation, and it just seemed like the Raiders organization had little to no faith in Derek Carr before, after that knee injury, after that leg injury in 2016. What do you think about Kyler going to Atlanta?
I would love it there. That'll be the franchise quarterback. Um, Now you saying this if as if Desmond Ritter plays bad, right?
That is if Desmond Ritter plays bad. If Desmond Ritter doesn't live up though, because if he doesn't become the quarterback that they think he can be, and if they want to move on and get somebody right away, why not get Kyler? Even though he is
Mm-hmm.
coming off an injury, but still, Kyler Murray is the best quarterback you've had in a while. And even though he's like 5'10", really more 5'8" ish,
Mm-hmm.
he's a miniature Michael Vick.
Mm.
So, and when you look at it and look at the weapons that you give him, I mean, you have Drake London, Kyle Pitts,
Yeah,
Bijan Robinson. So, I
Tyler
mean,
Algier.
yeah.
They
So
got they
you
got
surround
running.
him with with a lot of talent on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm. I would love the running game with him and Kyler, with Bijan and Kyler. I would love it. I think it will fit well. I
I
really think
definitely think
so.
so.
Um, Pittsburgh is another
Oh
team.
God, don't mention Jay.
Pittsburgh is another team. Uh,
Lord have
De-
mercy. This man need
Deontay Pickens, Najee, yeah, Fryer move.
Kyler to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I would love that too.
I would like that. A black quarterback with a black head coach. I would love
Mm.
that. You know, Mike
But
Tomlin.
if I'm Seattle too, I will actually pick up the phone, try to get him too. He could be our franchise quarterback, maybe. He's
I don't know
younger.
if Arizona wants to do that because they want to put. Remember, Arizona, Seattle, same division.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
If you're gonna trade somebody, move them to a different conference.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if I'm Kyler, I mean, this may be it, man, in Arizona, because yeah, they gave him his money
Mm-hmm.
begrudgingly, and like I said before, the homework clause, that's never going to go away with Kyler Murray. I mean, they put an independent study clause in his contract in which it stated that he had to study for like 4 hours outside the job, and that's still never going to go away with Kyler. But I hope he can. He'll probably won't start until what, midway of the season.
Yeah.
And if he can resemble to being what he used to be, then who knows? But if
Mm-hmm.
Arizona, if they get a top pick for him, either they get him some offensive lineman help, some defensive players, and if they want to go for wide receiver, I wouldn't mind the kid from OSU, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm. Yeah.
So, let's talk about this. Your Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I went on the podcast, your podcast, and I said Geno Smith is a top 10 quarterback. Right now, I have him ninth in the
Ooh.
NFL. I have, like I said before, I'll state my top 10. I have Mahomes number one because he's in a class by himself. Burrow number two. Allen number three. Jalen Hurts four. Justin Herbert five. Aaron Rodgers six. Lamar seventh. Trevor Lawrence eighth. Geno Smith ninth. And 10th, I got Tua.
Okay. Um, I like the Geno respect. I think he's a little too high though. I still think Geno's like he's top 20. Um, I like the because the he had an amazing season. Hopefully he'll show out again, but I don't think it's going to be like the same season he had last year. But I do think he's going to have a good year because of the help he got now. Still got Kenneth Walker, got the rookie from UCLA. Um, Forgot now. I think his name's Zach.
And you also got Jackson Smith Njimba from
Yeah,
OSU.
JSN. Yeah. So he got help. Um, only thing I'm worried about with my Seahawks is really the D line, our run defense. We really didn't establish that, but our secondary, man, with Woolen, Witherspoon, Adams coming, Jamal Adams coming back, Quandre Diggs, secondary gonna be nice. I think it's gonna be a top 5 secondary in the league.
Mm, yeah, I definitely agree there.
But
I think.
but
Go ahead.
but again, it all comes back on Gino. It all come back on Gino, man. So we'll see.
Well, they gave him the contract, and I felt like, you know what? If the Colts, if they didn't take Anthony Richardson, they should have drafted him just in case, so that
Hmm.
Gino can be like a mentor for him, have him sit for a couple of years, and then eventually, when he gets his number called, he could come in. Um, Speaking of some other young quarterbacks in the NFL, we all know Leaf. Shouts to my boy Leaf Diggy. Like I said, if you want to hop on the StreamYard link, folks, I just put it on the YouTube section. Let's talk about his Green Bay Packers. Now, we all know Aaron Rodgers was traded to the New York Jets. We are now in the first year of the Jordan Love era. How do you feel about Jordan Love?
Um, I like it. Uh, Jordan Love. Hopefully I don't expect him to be like coming out the gate swinging. I don't expect him to be like that, but I think he'll be all right. We just gotta see what happens with him. They probably go get rid of him next year if he don't pans out though.
Mm.
I think they'll get rid of him, but
How
they
do
in rebuild mode. So
Well, they're in rebuilding mode. And if they find a quarterback available in the 2024, it's not just Caleb Williams from USC. There's also some really good ones too, folks. Let's not forget Drake May from North Carolina. There's also Michael Penix Jr., I think, from Washington. So we're going to talk about some more college football. We definitely should talk about more of that on your podcast later on at some point, because
yeah,
not just NFL football, I can't wait for college football, especially with
So we'll
the
talk a little bit of that. We'll talk a little bit of college.
yeah. So, man, I think Gino. Back to Gino. I think Gino's
Mhm.
top 10, because when I look
Okay.
at Gino right now, I understand 1 year doesn't do it to a lot of people. But when I look at it right now, I would move forward with him. Who is in your top 10? I hope you don't have Dak Prescott in your top
No,
10.
no, 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 no.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, I got Mahomes. This in order. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Rogers. I got Herbert 5. I got Lamar 6, Hurt 7, Kyler 8, Trevor 9, and then I got Deshaun Watson at 10. But
Mm.
that's a Deshaun Watson is because that's like a benefit of the doubt because of the suspension and all that.
Do
And
you
I
think
think
Deshaun will ever become what he was?
him and Russ.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Russ. Now Russ, I'm not expecting him to be like 2018, like back in his prime, but I expect him to be good.
But better compared to last year, because there's nowhere to go but up.
No, yeah, 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 definitely.
Okay. So I want to talk about. Hold up, let me talk about some NFL. Oh yeah, I don't know if you watched the episode Commanders Demand last night. Let's talk about with the Commanders. I think I've said it before on my podcast, Commanders Demand. Go check me out. Sports PSP on the Grid Network. I do it every Wednesday nights. I had to do it Monday night because unfortunately I have to work tomorrow night. I had to close tomorrow night. But talk to me about with the Chase Young rumors. Possibility that he could be traded. We could probably ship him to Pittsburgh. We could ship him to Detroit or any other team. What do you think about Chase Young?
I would love him in Seattle, that's for sure. I would love
I
to
know
have
you
him
do.
yeah, I love to have him in Seattle. Chase Young, man, when he was healthy, that dude was a baller. But injuries always killing him. But um, we'll see what happens with Chase Young. I think he's gonna ball out wherever he goes. I don't know if y'all gonna keep him or not though.
I don't know if we're going to keep him. Remember, we didn't pick up his 5th year option. And plus, there are other things that we have to address with Washington. We have to address Montez Sweat. He may enter free agency. So I feel like, and I did the start bench cut between Terry McLaurin, Deron Payne, and Montez Sweat. I said I would start Terry McLaurin because I think Terry McLaurin is arguably a top 10 receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, he definitely top 10.
And what he's able to do with little to no quarterbacks he's had throughout his time in Washington. I benched Montez Sweat, even though Deron Payne had double digit sacks, 11 and a half, and made the Pro Bowl. But if I lose Chase Young, I can't lose Montez Sweat. And Montez Sweat is a freak too. I mean, he's 6'6", 260 that can run a 4.4 and that can get after the quarterback. And I think he's capable of having a double digit sack season. I mean, the highest he had, I think, was in 2020 with 9 sacks. Last year he finished second career high in sacks with 8. If I lose Chase Young, I can't lose Montez Sweat, and then I would cut Deron Payne. So how do you feel about that with Montez Sweat?
I hate Sweat though. Can you hear me, PSP?
Yeah, you were lagging a little bit. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. I like Montez Sweat. I think he's one of the best defensive linemen out there. Um, yeah. Him. If I hope y'all do keep him though, because I like what y'all have doing with the D line. You got Sweat out there, Payne. Um,
Jonathan Allen.
yeah, Jonathan Allen. Yeah, I love that defensive line y'all
Yeah.
got. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can say a lot of things about Washington. When it comes to our D line, we ain't no joke. And we definitely needed an upgrade at the secondary position. We drafted Emmanuel Forbes. I thought we could have drafted Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon because I thought he had better size and with the speed. But Emmanuel Forbes has speed. The problem with him is his size, though. I think he's a little too skinny.
Mm.
How do you feel about him? And we're gonna wrap up the show by talking a little bit about Sam Howell and Eric Bieniemy. But how do you feel about with Forbes? How good do you think Emmanuel Forbes can be?
Yeah, like you say, he too kind of skinny a little bit. I like Forbes. Um, really, me personally, uh, Christian. I think I should have got Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah,
I think I should have got him. He fits well in y'all system.
yeah, I felt
Um,
like we should have gotten him. Yeah.
but yeah, but hopefully he plays out though. I can see him be great in the next 2 years though.
All right, all right. Let's talk about Sam Howell. Now, this is going to be his first year as a starter with the Washington Commanders. He only started one game last year. That was the season finale game against the
Mhm.
Dallas Cowboys. I thought he looked solid. I thought he played well. What's your thoughts on him?
Uh, yeah, I go to I went to some UNC games, like from North Carolina and stuff. He's very great. He's a great quarterback. I'll be seeing a lot of film on him. He's good. He got weapons over there. Dotson, McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. Yeah, I still got Samuel, right?
Yes.
Yeah, got him. And I got the running game. So he got the weapons. Um, he's gonna be great. Uh, what's your thoughts on Heineke? Did you like Heineke? You think he's trash?
No, I actually liked him. I told you before, I never wanted Carson Wentz's ass in the first place.
Yeah. That was. Mhm.
He was trash, man. And I knew that was it in Indianapolis. I knew from the point once he left Indianapolis, that was it because he had every opportunity to flourish. I mean, that offensive line, you reunited with your former offensive coordinator in Philadelphia, Frank Reich, who was the head coach. I mean, you had a running game. Jonathan Allen led the NFL in rushing that season. You were one game away from advancing to the playoffs, and you lost to Jacksonville, who ended
Yeah.
up getting the number one overall pick. And I also look at with Carson Wentz the year before they acquired you in that trade, they went to the playoffs with Philip Rivers, who's like 39 years old, and that was his last year of his career.
Mm,
So when I look at that, I'm like, damn, I didn't want Carson Wentz's ass in the first place. I'd rather start Taylor Heineke or Sam Howell. And I just knew, like I said, man, with Washington, they are too good of a team to not get a top pick. That's why I've said before, man, they should tank the rest of the season to try to get Caleb Williams or Drake May. If Sam Howell becomes really good, then I'll live with that, because if I'm Washington, I mean, we haven't had a competent quarterback since Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think Kirk Cousins, I don't know. I don't have Kirk Cousins as a top 10 quarterback. He's probably somewhere around that top 13, top 14 to me.
Mhm.
But the thing is with Sam Howell, I think he'll be solid. I think he'll be good. I think he'll start. He'll start. If he struggles, that's going to be fine, because I have Jacoby Brissett there as a backup. He's a really good backup. He can mentor and guide Sam Howell. So we'll see there.
Mm,
And last part, Eric Bieniemy, as I mentioned, because I think Eric Bieniemy, in case of Ron Rivera leaves, I wouldn't mind seeing him being the head coach. And if he
mhm,
does a well
mhm.
job with this offense, then we can end all this narrative. Well, he didn't call the players in Kansas City. Well,
Oh
neither
yeah,
did Matt Nagy and Doug Peterson and them.
yeah, definitely. I love that pick that y'all made with Eric Bieniemy. Um, um, hopefully everything's right with them. Uh, cause like I said, man, y'all got the weapons, bro. It's just you just gotta see how Sam Howell's gonna be. So and
Yeah,
the division though, um,
yeah,
who
the NFC
you got?
East.
Yeah, Eagles winning that for sure.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be tough though. It's been like 20 plus years since the team has won the back-to-back seasons.
yeah, for the NFC East.
Yeah, I mean the
Uh,
last team to do that was the Eagles going back to '03 and then '04. That was when they acquired TO in '04.
but yeah, there's no reason why they can't be in the second seed. Not second seed, but well, second in the division. I see them being first. Like there's no negative thing about their team.
Right,
There's nothing negative.
right. I just think when you look at Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts is clearly their guy from him. He's definitely the type of quarterback they need post Carson Wentz.
Mhm.
They're loaded. I mean, we talk about Washington's D line, the Eagles D line, they loaded. I mean, you got Fletcher Cox, you still got Brandon Graham, you
Uh-huh.
got the other two defensive tackles and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. So those
The Georgia, the
Phil-
Philadelphia Bulldogs.
Bulldogs, Philadelphia
Yeah.
Bulldogs. That's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are.
Mm.
And then they got the other defensive lineman from the Georgia. I forgot his name. I think it's Dean or something.
Kobe Dean,
Oh yeah. So I mean, they're
and
loaded.
got Ringo for the corners.
And they're even more loaded. So Howie Roseman definitely won GM of the year so far this season because of all the talent he accumulated.
Uh-huh.
When you look at Dallas, they, I mean, look, I hate the Cowboys. I know you can't stand the I don't know how you feel about the Cowboys,
Oh man,
but
accident waiting to happen every year when
yeah.
it comes to them.
But when I look at this team, man, hold up, we ain't done just yet. We got my boy Leaf. Leaf,
Leave in
Yo,
the
yo, yo, what's
building.
good?
what's
What's
good,
up,
man? How
Lee?
you doing?
I'm good, man. Trying to duck and dodge these Jason Tatum fanatics and whatever.
Oh man.
We're
Yeah.
not talking about Jason Tatum. We talking about another. We were talking about Dennis Rodman. He said that Larry Bird, if he played in today's game, he'd be in Europe, which is ridiculous.
Yo, I heard about that actually. They had spoken about that on the PC show earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, is Larry Bird? Are we not? Is Larry Bird not basically Jokic but smaller?
I was gonna say Luca, but yeah, Jokic too. You can
I
definitely
think well,
compare.
because I think Jokic. Well, the thing with Jokic, I think he's basically playing off of basketball IQ. almost similar to Bird was. You know what I'm saying? I think Luka is playing off of basketball IQ as well. But the problem with Luka is that he's playing at positions. He's basically playing at the guard position, and he's probably having more trouble at the guard position because there's more guards that could put more trouble on him offensively than it is more centers. So I think that's where Joker has somewhat of the advantage. But to me, somebody basically, yeah, I think it was said earlier. It was like, yo, Bird is just wasn't Bird. If we look back on it, wasn't Bird just Joker but smaller and more athletic? Like,
Yeah, a better defender too. I mean, I said it before. If he played in today's game, he would average a triple double. For
easily,
yeah,
easily.
to say that Larry Bird wouldn't succeed in today's game, that's like saying Michael Jordan wouldn't succeed in today's game. MJ would easily average 38 or 40 because we saw him average 37 and 35
In
in
the
the 80s.
80s. Yes, right. And I think the correlation between Jordan and Bird obviously much different, but I think the real question is, can Dennis Rodman play in today's game? And we all know that's a big fat no.
I'm glad you brought that up because Rodman, he would make up for it with his rebounding, his defense. How would he evolve as a shooter, though? I mean, he could shoot I mean, I saw him shoot a little bit of threes here and there, but I think Rodman was an underrated passer and playmaker. Rodman
Mhm.
had basketball IQ. I mean, could he be what Draymond is today, but obviously a better rebounder?
That's
Nope.
that.
He'll,
See,
he'll
here's
be
the thing.
he'll be Jared Vanderbilt. That's exactly what he'll be.
You know what? All right, listen. I was gonna lean more to the Jared Vanderbilt, but the defense, the version of Dennis Rodman that would be able to play in today's game would probably be more of the Pistons version than more of the Bulls version. And the
Yeah.
reason being is because if you go look at the Pistons version of Dennis Rodman, we talking about somebody that could guard 1, 2, 3,
All various
and 4,
positions, yeah.
various positions. That now the five now the Dennis Rodman that we seen in in Chicago was basically just an agitator. You know, that's what he was. He was just mental. It was mental games. You know, it was head tricks. You know, little tactics here and there, like little stuff that in between the lines that you kind of officiate now, like almost on the same scale as think of Patrick Beverly, but more annoying. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like that. Yeah, that's basically Dennis Rodman in a nutshell. So the real question is, would Dennis Rodman be able to play today? And if he did play today, me personally, I would be okay with him coming off the bench, being that 15-minute lockdown defender that could rebound, run the floor. I think it could work in a certain scenario, but there's very few teams that he'll be successful on doing what he's doing. I don't think he's going to be that guy that's just going to be on his own team, or you could just swap him from the '80s, when he was at his young defensive peak, and put him on a Pistons team, and then okay, like I mean, could he be Alex Caruso? First team all defense type. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
He'll be
that's
he'll
the
be
real
he'll
question.
be first all defense.
He no without question.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
without
think
question. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
without question. And yeah, I just thought Dennis totally lost his mind. I thought he was crazy. I'm gonna just
You
leave
know
it
what
at
the
that.
crazy part about this is? Dennis Rodman been after Larry Bird since 1986.
Yeah, I told you. He said, didn't he say that Bird is overrated because he's white and because a lot of
Well, what he said was, because what he actually said, if Larry Bird was black, he'd just be another
and,
good player.
right, and that's why right. And I felt like the only reason why he said overrated with Bird was because he was white. If he were black and if he had that exact skill, we would look at it and say, hey, yeah, that's really about it.
Because the thing is, let's face it, bro. Like Larry Bird is probably the first white guy to ever give Larry Bird is probably the first white guy to ever give Dennis Rodman any trouble on the basketball court. And we
Mm,
saw that. And if you go back to the '86 and the '87s when the Pistons and the Celtics played each other, Like, listen, Larry Bird was he was him.
Yep.
I hate to tell people, bro, like, yo, if you could say if it was strictly off of basketball IQ, he just thought the game out. Larry Bird with a bad back was giving dudes 40 in the early 90s. He was supposed to retire after 88. He didn't have no business playing extra 4 years. The thing is, Larry Bird was a do-it-yourself kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I keep asking people, like, if you talk to the old heads about who Larry Bird was, yo, he was him. That's all I can say, bro. And if we wanna have a conversation about the Jokers of the world and the Lucas of the world even being close to what Larry Bird was, it is not that easy of a feat. Now I get their games. Their games is very tailored around basketball IQ and basic fundamentals and thinking the game out and the game well thought out in their head. But trust me when I tell you, man, like Larry Bird was him. You could say how unathletic the '80s was or whatever. Just you could give any tax you want to give. Larry Bird was him, and if he played today, he would still be him.
Nah,
It's just that simple.
we all agree there. Leaf, what's your thoughts about with free agency? We're about a few days away from free agency. Me and Brandon, we talked about Draymond Green. He declined his $27.6 million player option. You got James Harden. He has until Thursday to decide if he wants to stay with the 76ers, which is at $35.6 million. Brandon says he has James Harden going back to Houston and Kyrie unrestricted free agent. He'll probably stay. He'll probably stay in Texas, Dallas, because they're offering him the most money, no state income taxes. But I think the Lakers, they should do everything they can to get him, because in case if LeBron and AD get hurt, who's going to provide that scoring option? And clearly they need an upgrade from D'Angelo Russell. So what are your thoughts?
Well, to dig first on the Kyrie situation, I strongly believe and I actually hope that he's going to sign with Dallas because I don't need the Lakers or LeBron James getting the goddamn thing ever again. And I don't need to see from him
Brandon
ever.
won't like this.
And the thing is,
Bruh.
I don't give it. Listen, hey, Brandon, listen. I understand you don't like it, but you understand my stance on anything LeBron James related, anything remotely related to him. Get him out of here.
Jesus Christ, bro.
We don't need to see him anymore, bro. The future is now, bro. We need to get the old people out. Would you like to see me at age 35 running around in the league still stinking it up with Chris Paul and them? No. So it's time to get LeBron up out of here too. The same with Chris Paul and the same with all of these old geezers that's not moving the game forward. They just hanging around, just basically just stinking it up and just stealing money. That's all they doing. They just hanging around. And that's my whole thing on that. As far as James Harden goes, I hope. Listen, I would hope that Ime doesn't want anything to do with James Harden, or anybody in that organization doesn't want anything to do with
He should
James Harden.
just stay home, bro. He should just go home to Houston, bro.
Listen, I don't even. If we say Houston is home for him, we only saying that because of what he does off the court. You know, it's basically strippers and paying models $50,000 to stay for a weekend or whatever, man. Like, listen, I don't want any of that. There's too much munching going on in the league as it is. So that's my stance on that. And as far as the rest of free agency, I think a good question is, where's Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton gone? Because remember, Middleton opted out of 40.
Yeah.
And Brook Lopez is unrestricted as well. And I'm thinking to myself, if the Milwaukee Bucks let them two go with nothing in return, man, or if it's possible, they could use them as a sign and trade package for Dame, maybe.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that you mentioned that, Leaf, because Brendan mentioned it. Chris Middleton should be traded to Portland, and in return, Milwaukee should get Damian Lillard and some draft
they
picks.
got people on the bench like Wesley Matthews, Javon Carter, Grayson Allen still there, Bobby Porter's. Man, they got pieces. But Chris Middleton got to be in that deal, in my opinion.
If that deal was to happen, I think a third team would be in the deal because a third team with some youth would be in the deal because I think Portland would want some youth in return. I don't think Portland, even though Portland got Scoot and they got Simons as basically somewhat of their future. I mean, you got your young combo right there. I believe that they're probably gonna want. I say maybe one vet, you know what? They probably might want two vets. So it probably could work. I don't know what Portland mind is right now. I don't know. I think they're just like, hey Dame, do you want to? I think they just coming to Dame like, hey man, we can get you to Milwaukee if you want. I mean, but you can always stay here. It seemed to me that like it's kind of it's kind of too much love on both sides, but they both know they need to separate.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because like Portland is not bad. They're not bad mouthing Dame, and Dame is not bad mouthing them. They both still in love with each other. It's just that they know it can't work. You know what I'm saying? It's like being in a long distance relationship almost. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like it's one of those. It's one of those. Hey, yeah, like your girl got a job out in Australia, and you got your work out in over in the East Coast in Washington.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what's the deal with that. But if they was to do that, Dame and Giannis together, oh
That'd be
man,
nice.
it would be nice theoretically, especially if they could keep Drew. If they could keep, oh my God, yeah, that.
Yeah, can you
Man.
imagine? And like I said, it'd be more balanced though, because you got Dame with the playmaking and the shooting, and you got Drew Holiday with the
The
defense.
defense.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think Drew could and I think Dame could play off of Drew.
Yeah, because Dame is also great off the ball as well.
Yes, I think Dame
Yeah.
Dame could play off of Drew and Giannis, and it'll be a lot more catch and go situations and give and go situations with Giannis, getting the ball out of Giannis's hands and putting and leaving him in the dunk box and leaving him on the offensive glass is basically key. The problem is, I don't know if Giannis is ever going to have anybody as formidable as Brook Lopez to back him up basically at the 5-man position, because it seemed like Giannis is going to go into the direction of, let's just play Giannis. Yo, we could play Giannis at the 5. He's tall enough. I mean, it's going to seem like that ordeal when you post to leave him at the 4 and then have somebody at the 5. Maybe they move Bobby Portis at the 5 to space the floor more. The thing is, with Giannis out there, you have to have shooters all over the place. You have to. You just can't. You leave somebody with a liability at any position, you screwed. So, I mean, listen, it could work in theory. Who the rest of the free agency? I'm looking at Jordan Clarkson to see if he's gonna sign a player op, because he has player opt option. It seemed like a lot of players is looking for new deals after July 1st, because once this new CBA is in place, we basically I think this is the beginning of the era where the owners basically kind of put more money back in their pockets.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I think this is the beginning of that. But here's the thing, because we see what Atlanta just dumped off John Collins, man, for some Scooby snacks, basically. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
like, so we if we're gonna see some more of these dump off contracts where it's like, oh, I don't need to pay him, man. Hey, let me keep this money in my pocket, man. Just in case some new free agents come up, and then you
Yeah.
build through the draft, and then you got teams like adding on through the draft already, and you already got teams that's stuck in the draft because they can't get no free agents. Basically, more owners is going to keep money in their pockets. This is going to be the beginning of that era, July 1st. Listen, that's the day where the Players the Association has officially taken a step back. from what they was, because they was all of that eating up big contracts and playing less games, and I'm not playing 65
Cause that's
games, man, because
that's
I don't feel
that's
like
when
it.
that's when free agency starts, right? On
Yeah,
Friday.
Yeah,
yes,
Yeah.
Friday.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that's when
Friday.
and that's when the new CBA goes in place. And I knew this was gonna happen, man. And we don't have, and if we don't have nothing but the Ben Simmonses and the Kawhis of the world and all of those guys that basically was nickel and diamond and basically backdooring their way to a lot of these checks, man, like to blame for it. And I knew this was gonna happen a while ago. I said, yeah, listen, they're gonna get pissed off when somebody is taking over the new players association and they don't have anybody in there to fight for them, and it's time to give some of that money back to the owners. I'm telling you, and now that time has come. Um, as far as the rest of free agency, I don't think I know too many of the names realistically. I think Tyus Jones is probably gonna sign a deal or extension with Washington because he was a free agent.
Mhm. Yeah.
The Draymond thing. I'm hearing this conflict with that because Chris Paul already came in and starting some shit over there, man. I'm like, yo, listen, the Warriors is not that smart. They never have been, and now after all of these years, people finally see it, bro. Like Bob Myers left. Bob Myers left because they didn't get KD back. That's the real reason why he left. And now that he's gone, and now you got Mike Dunleavy in there who thinks he's know what he's doing. He basically signed Chris. You basically signed Steph Curry's greatest op and put him on the team. That you hated Jordan Poole that much that you literally went out and
Yeah.
traded him for like, and that was another dump off contract. And now they about to probably dump off Chris Paul because he's going to be in friction with one of the big three on their team, and they want to keep Draymond, at least pay him and get him out of there. And then so it's going to be a lot of sign. It's going to be a lot of sign contracts and dump offs to teams that could afford to pay them. That's
Mhm.
what you're about to see, man.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Um, Leave. Let's talk a little bit some NFL because I was discussing with Brandon. We actually talked about your team, the Green Bay Packers. We all know Aaron Rodgers. He got traded to the New York Jets. Will be the first year with Jordan Love at the quarterback. How do you feel about your Green Bay Packers, man, and Jordan Love?
I feel numb as hell. I feel like as much years as we had with Aaron Rodgers, I have to come to the conclusion. I have to come to the half and half conclusion that we obviously should have had at least maybe another championship. We only got one with him. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with him going to the Jets because I already know that shit is gonna fall on his face. I
Wow.
seen this movie. I seen this movie before. As far as
Wow.
we go, I don't really have any expectations for us, man. I mean, like, listen, as far as our division, I would be entirely shocked if the Bears or the Lions is not 1 and 2 in our division by the end of the season. It doesn't. It is no indication that's giving me that Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings are going to do anything, and I just don't know what Matt LaFleur could run with Jordan Love. I seen Jordan Love get reps last year and the year before, and I'm just like, well, I don't know. I mean, guess this is the beginning of the rebuilding stage, or the stage where we start looking like the Lions for maybe like 1 or 2 seasons, and then who knows, man. I don't really know what we're gonna do, man. Aaron Jones, we still got a decent secondary, I guess. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know, man. It's probably gonna be one of my most casual years of football, man. I could say in a while, man. Like
Wow.
I'm gonna pay attention to it because it's gonna be on. But like once the NBA season come on, man, I'm probably be distracted because 2K be giving out free NBA shit all the time anyway. So that's one of the reasons why I was locked into the NBA season. So,
Hmm.
but as far as the NFL go, I don't know, man.
Now, you did say something. I think you said this on Sunday. You actually said you got Tua Tagovailoa top 6 in terms of quarterbacks.
I do, yeah, yeah, because and the reason and coming into this season, and the reason, and I probably got to rearrange the list because I did have Hurts at number 5 to round out that list.
Ooh.
Um, I believe I had Mahomes. Who was it? Mahomes at 1. I had Burrow at 2. Josh Allen at 3. I had did I have you know what? I'm gonna put Hurts at 4 and I'm gonna put Herbert at 5. Cause Herbert listen, as much as injured as that team is, I think Herbert has enough talent on its own to at least get a playoff win, specifically against the Jaguars, bro. But I mean, listen, it went left. I'm
Uh,
not putting Trevor. I'm not putting Trevor Lawrence over him. Brandon, relax. I'm not putting Trevor Lawrence over him.
good, Lee. Thank you,
All
thank
right, cool.
you.
So, but at 5, yeah. So, Tua, I think Tua had all the tools necessary to max out a Tyreek Hill and what was damn, what was the other receiver? What was that? That was Landry. Was that Landry?
You talking about the wide receivers this year? Leaf.
Yeah, yeah. It was what the wide receivers this past year was
They had
Tyreek and Landry, right?
Jalen Waddle and
Jalen Waddle.
Tyreek Hill.
Right. Jalen Waddle. My bad, my Waddle. Okay, so so I don't know why I thought it was Jarvis Landry for some reason, man.
He's
I'm
no
bugging.
longer there anymore, man.
Yeah, he not. He in Cleveland. Him and Waddle. Yeah. So him being able to max out with him and Waddle, bro, before the injuries, I think personally, like he was on the up and up before he got injured. You know what I'm saying? And then the injury happened, and then Miami mismanaged it because for whatever reason. And then, but I'm gonna still keep him at number 6 for the time being. As far as Lamar Deshaun Watson go, I almost didn't have them ranking the top 10, but I ranked them top 10 anyway because they was better than the other quarterbacks that I named.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had them top 10 because I believe either one or the two of them are gonna have a bounce back year. As far as the teams, obviously they both in the same division. Somebody ain't gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be far fetched to say that the AFC North has the potential to be the best division this year. Has the potential to be the best division this year with Burrow, Watson, and Lamar. But obviously, that division always comes down to always comes down to a grit and grind type of division where those teams, man, like they defenses, they get dirty. They get real dirty, man. It's almost like the times with Cincinnati had Vontaze Burfict, and it was like, yo, listen, we ain't winning, but we gonna put somebody out. You know what I'm saying? So like, and the Bears did that to us many times, many times. They did that to us almost every time we get a division game. The Bears is literally out there trying to hit like they got bounties out. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
people watch the games, but like, yo, them division games, they get real sick and iffy, man. But Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, I think he pretty much is like it's his division to lose.
Mm-hmm. Right. I feel you there, man. Shocking you got Tua high. I mean, I love Tua. I've said it before, folks, with Tua Tagovailoa. I think Tua's big time. The only problem with Tua has been durability. That's been the huge question mark throughout his career, not just in the NFL, but also in college. So I would like to see Dalvin Cook with the Miami Dolphins because if you give him an offense, if you give him that type of threat, that would be beneficial. But we'll see there. Hold on, we got Leaf. Leaf, you still there, man?
Yeah. I'm still here, bro. I might have to reset again. Hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta shit. My shit's racking up.
No, it's all good. Take your time, man. But what do you think, Brandon? He got 2 of 6. What's your thoughts?
He's smoking on catnip. No way I'm putting that man in the top 6, bro. I mean, I know he was in the MVP convo and all that type stuff, but like that's crazy. That's insane. That's just insane. Top 6s. Ooh.
Two or top 6?
He thought
Yeah,
he thinks he's
that's
smoking crack, man.
Okay, all
that's
right. So
crazy.
all right, so I put him behind basically the top QBs of this past year, but I'm guessing you got Lamar and Watson in front of him because I had
No.
Lamar and Watson in
Yeah.
the
I got Watson at 10. I got
okay
Tua like at top 15.
top 15.
Yeah, I put him top 15. Yeah.
So all right, yeah, I gotta hear this list. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you gotta look. Go ahead, Brandon. I gotta hear
I
this.
got I got Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Rodgers, Herbert, um, Lamar, Hurts, Kyler, um, who else?
You don't even have Trevor top 10.
No, I do got Trevor top 10. I do got
Where
Trevor.
you got so you got Trevor at 9 because you had Watson at 10.
Yeah, I got Watson 10. Yeah,
Okay,
and
Trevor
then
9, Watson 10.
this is where it gets tricky. I might go Kirk Cousins.
Uh,
I might go Kirk Cousins. I don't want to say his
Don't
name.
you dare say that. Don't you dare say that, bro. You
That's
know,
what I was
bro.
thinking.
No, Brandon. I did not do this on your show, bro. Come on, man. I did not do. I listen, Brandon. I
Yo,
showed you this respect, bro. Come
Leaf
on,
is
man.
reading my mind because I do not want to say this man's name.
Bro, because
you
you
gonna say
stopped me from
that?
saying it. I was like, wait, what?
Nah, I ain't gonna say his name. Give me. mm.
You did you brought up Kyler? You said you got Kyler top 10.
You said you got Kyler top 10. That's what I
Yeah,
was just.
yeah, I
I
sure
didn't even say.
do.
I was just like, yo,
I
my
sure
heart was
do.
about to jump out of my chest. I was
Nah,
like, wait a minute.
I
You
ain't gonna
gotta
say
explain.
that.
You gotta explain Kyler to me, bro. Like when you get done with this list, right? So I'm guessing you got Tua at 12 to say respectful.
He top 15. He in the same. Well, he's at the golfs, the
The golf.
yeah, the golfs, the Kirks, the
Oh my God.
the you know what I'm gonna say, the
See,
Dax,
don't
the
say Dak. No,
Genos.
no. He's Dak. Danny Jones. Brock Purdy. No, he's better than them.
Yeah, he better than Brock Purdy. Yeah, that's
He's
I
better
don't
than
think
Danny. He's better than Danny Jones.
I don't know. Well, yeah, Daniel Jones. Yeah, I give you that. I give you Daniel Jones.
It's
That's why I
okay.
said
Is he better? Is he better than Geno?
it's close. It's
It's
close.
close. Oh
It's
my
close, bro.
God.
But I will say this, Leaf. I will say this, bro. It's his injuries, bro. That the injuries what killed the last season. That's what did it, bro. Like he was playing at an MVP level, bro. He was in the MVP conversation before he got hurt. So
For sure.
that's why I'm saying he's top 15.
It's one of the reasons why I pushed him. Why I pushed him to 6 because
Mm.
man, yo, the season that he was having before
And
them
the thing
injuries,
is,
bro.
though,
Like, had it
yeah,
not been, you take Mahomes away, you take Mahomes out of the league, bro. Like, it's an argument between him and Hurts. Had he finished the season healthy,
yeah, that's
to
what I'm
me,
saying. Yeah, yeah. But then that he was hurt and stuff. Then he start throwing ducks. I'm like, bro, like,
I mean, them injuries must have been that bad. We talking about concussion. We talking about level 2, level
mhm,
3 concussion
yeah,
protocol,
yeah.
and then Miami put him back on the field, and then I'm like, okay.
I was so close to say Dak leave. I was so close, bro.
No, you was not. No, you was not, bro. Like you
Mhm,
stopped me from saying Dak when I tried to put Dak a little bit outside of the top 10, and I
mhm,
still can't do it. And the thing is, then you said golf, and then I'm like, okay, this is where we get nasty, bro. I'm like, all right, listen. In terms of Aaron Rodgers, I definitely still got in the top 10, but I got on the back end of my top 10 because I
ooh,
feel like I feel like he's done enough
Leaf, I
as
thought Brandon was gonna say Dak Prescott 10. If he said Dak Prescott 10, he
No,
losing
no,
me.
no. He said no, no, no. Listen, not because the thing is, he said Watson 10, and then I knew he had Trevor at least 9 or 8.
yeah. I
I
got
was
I
just
got
like,
Trevor 9.
okay,
Okay.
all right. So you got Trevor 9 and 8. The reason why I had what I had I had Aaron Rodgers probably 8. And one of the reasons why I had him there
Mhm,
because I felt like he's done enough as a top 5 and top 10 quarterback. I don't even feel like at this point we don't need to even rank him, man. It like all his rankings is all time to me. If you
mhm,
listen, if you don't know who Aaron Rodgers is by now, listen, I understand everybody going to bring up the losses to San Francisco. Listen, I done heard it all, man. Y'all can bring it all up. Y'all can say that nerfed him. What I got a
mhm,
problem with is people putting him all time behind certain quarterbacks, and I know that's just not the case. So,
mhm.
but
Nah,
yeah,
he's
but
top
that's that.
5. He's top 5 of all time. Rodgers.
Yes, he's top 5. Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
And as far as quarterbacks in that played within the time frame of the last 12 years that were great, it's literally only two in front of him, and that's Mahomes. That's Mahomes and obviously Brady. Everybody else, like
What about
any
Montana?
Montana didn't play in his era, but he is in
Oh,
front of him.
I'm sorry.
Manning, Peyton Manning, I would put him in front too. I put him in front too. I think it's kind of a tie between him and Peyton Manning. Him and Peyton Manning are close.
I got Mahomes over Peyton.
You got Mahomes. Yeah, I got Mahomes over Peyton. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Mahomes over. I got Mahomes at 2.
Dang,
Whoa.
already? Yeah, I got. Oh, whoa,
I got
whoa.
Mahomes. Yeah, like either top 3. Yeah, I got him top 3.
I have
Oh, man.
Brady and Montana above him, Brandon. I think he's already better than Peyton. And as much as I love Peyton, Peyton was never that great in the postseason. Mahomes, think about it, never played a road playoff game in his career yet. And he's been to 5 AFC championship games. He's been to 3
That's
Super
true.
Yeah,
Bowls.
with the and they all away.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I think that has a lot to do with the division, but I mean, it is what it is. I would I got Mahomes knocking on the door at number 2. I think he has a solid chance to be number 1 before it's all said and done.
He wins 4 more Super Bowls, I think.
I think if he wins 2 more, but like it's a conversation.
It's definitely a conversation. It's definitely a conversation.
Yeah, it's a
Man,
conversation.
if he goes back
to
back, he's top 2. If he goes back to back, he's top.
Okay, all right. So they won this year. If he wins this year,
yeah, he top 2.
Oh, he top 2.
He top 2.
Yeah, he top 2. So Montana gonna move down to 3. Then we gonna all right. Is Aaron Rodgers better than Peyton Manning?
Can't do it.
Even though they both, I mean, the playoff struggles with Manning is a lot more glaring than Aaron Rodgers, though.
Mm-hmm.
True, though. But Rodgers clearly, by far, talent standpoint, far above Peyton because he had that arm and the wheels. I just think, though, I mean, it's tough. I got Brady, Montana. I got Mahomes. I have Peyton. And I got Aaron Rodgers 5. And there's a quarterback that I feel like that should be mentioned in that top 5. 2 quarterbacks in that top 5 should be in the discussion.
If you say Drew Brees, I want to move on to the next
subject.
No. Okay.
John Elway.
Oh, brother.
No,
wait a minute. John Elway doesn't get the love? Man, the 3 Super Bowls before.
Here's the thing, John Elway. The problem with him is the thing that I'm not really big on, and that's advanced stats that we use to basically cover a lot of the players from that era. Because if you got to think about it, like he was the less efficient, and then like got Super Bowls, and you know what I'm saying. And then Dan Marino was the more efficient and didn't win nothing.
But that's the thing, Leaf. Can you imagine if you put Elway in today's era?
Yeah, he'd be cooking.
Yeah, you put Elway in today's era, yeah, he'd be cooking. If you put Dan Marino in today's era, bro,
like, he'd be cooking even more.
That's ridiculous. But the thing is, like, going off of what they've done, from what I've heard on Gridiron, bro, like John Elway, like was like he like in terms of the numbers, like he wasn't all that great. Like,
yeah.
What up, Brandon?
Yeah, like, shout out my boy Trent. Like, like looking at the game, like the games and stuff like that, the stats, it was kind of mid, bro. Like in the playoff games, so like
I had to look it over. It was kind of mid. I'm not gonna lie. It was definitely a mid off, like with him. Because
I understand though, PSP, the Super Bowls and all that. So
okay,
I put Brett Favre over both of them.
Nah.
What, I mean, that's too much.
I love Leaf before, even though I get on his ass with the whole welfare situation.
Oh man!
But Brett Favre, Brett Favre though, he growing up as a little kid, he was my favorite quarterback though. But 336 career interceptions.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I mean, he was definitely
That's that gunslinger shit, man. Like, yeah, that throwing it down the middle, try to give the Antonio Freeman the
yeah.
picked off. Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, the problem with Favre though was the efficiency part. I mean, he was phenomenal. He would take chances very few quarterbacks would make. But the three playoff games in which he ended throwing a pick, the Philly game, the Giants in the NFC Championship game, his last game as a
In the
Green Bay Packer,
Minnesota game, in
yeah,
the
Bounty Gate
what
game.
yeah, the Bounty Gate game, and I was listen. I've always considered myself under the impression that Drew Brees was a better version of a Dan Marino, basically Dan Marino in this era, and Brett Favre was basically a slightly better version number wise than John Elway. That's what I can. That was my contention. But I mean, as great as all these quarterbacks were, Dan Marino was basically doing Drew Brees numbers back in the
Mm,
'80s and the '90s. You know, back when wideouts couldn't go across the middle. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was basically doomsday. Like back when defenses was key. Um, Brett Favre was basically like good slinging it in there, like during the era where like you paid for it and hence for it he made a lot of wide receivers pay for it as well.
he
But
did, but
John Elway, I
yeah,
think once John Elway got Terrell Davis in the running game, it was pretty much it was pretty much curtains. But I mean, but John Elway before that, even in the '80s, he was doing things. But like the thing is, when you look at those numbers, out of the quarterbacks that I just named, if you look at his numbers, of course, those were not impressive numbers at all.
the numbers don't stand you out. But if you look at, as you say, Leaf, the eye test, and if you look at the eye test, you look at Elway, how the way he ran with the football because he was athletic too, and he
Mm-hmm.
had a cannon of an arm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, even though numbers never lie, but numbers can be misconstrued. If you actually watch the tape or highlights of John Elway, you look at it and you say, whoa, which is why people like me and Fluent give Elway more love than his due. I just feel like people just look at the numbers and they just say, what's so special or unique about John Elway?
What about what about Steve Young? Is Steve Young
Oh, yeah,
um
he's top 10 in my opinion.
Steve's also so, all right, so Steve
You don't
Troy
think he's
Aikman?
top 10, Brandon?
No, I think he is.
Okay, cool.
What
Yeah.
about
Hey,
Aikman?
PSP, I gotta go, bro.
All right, take it easy, my man, Brandon.
All right,
All right,
leave.
all right, Brandon.
All right.
All right, what about Aikman?
Uh, I can't put Aikman in that top 10. He's probably somewhere around that top 15-ish to me, Leaf. But like I said, if I had to go top 10 quarterbacks of all time, Brady, Montana, Mahomes, Peyton, Rodgers. I put Marino up there, even though he does not have a Super Bowl. But the way he threw the football, I think he's the most, other than Mahomes or Rodgers, he's beautiful to watch throwing the football. I look at Elway, seventh. I have Drew Brees in that 8-ish. I have Steve Young. No, actually, I'm gonna flip it. No, you know what? I got Drew Brees 8th. I got Steve Young 9th, and then 10th. I go Favre. Favre has to be in that top 10 because even though the 336 interceptions, but when he retired, he had the touchdowns, the yards, the 297 consecutive games in which he played the ultimate Iron Man, 3 consecutive league MVPs, 95, 96, 97. That has to say something. So those are my top 10 quarterbacks of all time.
I would probably agree with you. I that top five is agreeable. At number six, damn. At number six,
Yeah, I got Marino.
nah. I'm gonna throw Marino like a little bit in the back end. At number six, I have Drew Brees.
So, sorry, I believe. Shout outs to Sylvester Lacour. That VD done gone to Rodman's head. Someone should slap him with a snail.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy. So at
Crazy
number
as hell.
6, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Breeze. At number 7, I'll go with Steve Young. Number 8, I'll go with Elway. 9, I'll go with Marino, and then 10 Brett Favre.
Okay, so repeat the list again. You got six. Who you got six again?
6. I got Drew Brees.
Okay.
7, I got Steve Young.
Okay.
8, I got Elway.
Mm-hmm.
9, I got Marino, and then 10, I got Brett Favre.
All right,
Yeah,
I can live with that. I can live with
yeah.
that.
I think, and notable mentions. Warren Moon would
Oh,
probably Warren Moon would probably be on the back end of that.
what about
Um,
Terry Bradshaw?
Terry Bradshaw, damn, yeah, he'd probably be in consideration as well, like in the 11-15 range. Aikman would probably be in the 11-15 range as well. Who else? Who else? Who else?
Big Ben.
Yeah, Big Ben would probably be in the 11-15 range, and who else? Damn. I'm gonna go with Jim Kelly.
Okay, that's a really good pick, though. I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jim Kelly because like it's what people have to do is they have to marvel like the 4 trips to the Super Bowl. It marvels any run like in the history of sports probably because like you think it to yourself like yo 4 straight Super Bowls and ain't lost obviously
hmm
but to make 4 straight Super Bowls to begin with is just like yo yeah they really did that man and it's like I think a lot of people basically laugh at that run. Obviously, them not winning not a Super Bowl kept Jim Levy from being an all-time great coach. It kept Thurman Thomas from not being an all-time a top 10 running back. It kept Bruce Smith from not being an all-time top 10 defensive player because had you add rings to those all of those names I just mentioned are basically in top 10 conversations. If all they had to do was maybe win maybe 2 or 3 Super Bowls, if they win half of those names are in those conversations. So don't forget about them Buffalo Bills teams in the early '90s, man. Like
no, we
they
can't.
belong.
We can't.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes the rest of the episode. Leaf, my man, thank you for hopping on. Thanks for Brandon for hopping on. Leaf, where to follow you, my man?
Follow me at Twitch. No, wait. Yeah, I am on Twitch. Twitch at Leaf4788. On Twitter, Leaf4788. YouTube, Leaf4788. Instagram, I'm back on Instagram, Leaf underscore 4788 because I had to make a new one. And yeah, that's it. Free agency is coming up. Looking forward to free agency. Um, the NFL season should be a good one. Falcons will host the NFC Championship game. I'm laying on that. That's my thing, man.
All right, man. It's your boy Sports PSP. Thanks for hopping on the podcast, folks. Like and follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sports PSP. Also, go follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. And we are done. Peace.
Peace.